Hey, what's up, Reefers? This week we're going to do things a little bit different. I have recorded the video first. Right now it's Friday. And I'm actually doing the voiceover as I'm watching the video. The reason I'm doing this is because I noticed that when I'm doing it at the same time, and that was Kowloon, thank you. I noticed that when I'm doing it at the same time, I miss a lot of things. So this time I am filming everything that I want to talk about first, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper with my narration. Let's get into it. Thanks, Kowloon. Before we get too deep, I want to thank you guys for those of you who have gave recommendation on how I could best handle the brown jelly disease on the framer frag. I ended up just deciding to cut off that affected head or head in half just so that it does not spread to the other euphyllias. There are other recommendations of doing a iodine dip or like products similar to iodine, dipping the whole colony, just to address the brown jelly disease. But as you can see here, I have a lot of euphyllias that are doing well. So I really don't want to do the risk, especially since those heads seems to be pretty far gone. Here we also see the New York Knicks torch from Joker's Corals. It has been steadily growing. Right now it's 4 heads and the color is slowly getting a little more and more rich, which is fantastic. And we also have all these other torches that I picked up from Chevy last month. Has it been a month? Maybe like 3 weeks. And they all seems to be doing really well and they're coloring up. It's weird because like a lot of corals that first go into my tank, maybe it's due to my, well, I was gonna say high nutrient, but that may not be the case. But I'll get a little bit into it later. But whatever reason, they always kind of lose the color or brown out a little bit. And then about a month in, they start coloring back up again, maybe due to adjusting to the parameters. Here we have the Top Shelf Aquatic green torch with the pink tip. It is one of my favorite torch. I love the gold, but this green and this hot pink is awesome as well. Right now, I think it's like head and half, 2 heads as well. Now, one of the torch is not doing fantastic, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of shifted the whole torch around, because it's been shaded when I was facing the front of the tank. And in the back of the tank, I still got these chunks of frog spawn. It was a splatter frog spawn. I'll swing to the front for a better view. But as you can see, well, maybe not that clearly, but there's a green hue that's developing at the center of these heads. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these heads develop. The other long-term issue that has been plaguing this tank was zoas closing up for the past 2 months or so. But I think I finally figured it out, at least 90% there. It turns out to be low phosphate level, low PO4. The kicker here is that the HANA checker is telling me that I have about 0.06, while the entire time the Mastertronic is telling me I got 0.01. So I believe the HANA checker, but it turns out it looks like the Mastertronic may actually be correct due to how the corals behave after I start dosing phosphate. I've tried lowering the lights, adjust the flow, move the location for certain zoas, double check for pests, just making sure all these other things lined up. And then the last thing I wanted to check was the phosphate level. And level 0.06 is not so high that I would be afraid to dose more. So I went ahead and dosed some more. And through the course of about a week or so, I see more and more zoa polyps opened up. So that could be it. I am currently waiting for the ATI ICP test to come back with the results before I really just point my finger saying that, okay, it is a low phosphate. So developing story, and I'll keep you guys posted. Ganipora are just there. The rainbow one in the back is looking really good. The other ones are slowly growing. The teal one is not doing fantastic, but for the most part, they're there. And here comes the LPS that I do not know where to put. The Blastos, I love. They look absolutely fantastic. The Aken, the big one in the back, is morphing color. They used to be kind of teal, but now it's changing into like a yellow and like maroon colors. Hey.
1 eternity later.
Did I mention the GMK Zoas Pop the Baby? Yep, just double the value. OG Bounce Mushroom and the Space Invader Pectinia are just holding steady as well. Soft corals. I have a love-hate relationship with them. Love them because obviously they're beautiful, they're easy, and they just look impressive when you let them grow out. Hate them because they do have the tendency to release chemical in the water when the space is getting intruded upon, and usually that fudge things up a little bit. And in an effort to combat this, I've been running carbons or purites. I kind of alternate between the two. Besides the standard leather and the gorgonian I got going in my tank, I also picked up this little rock full of mushroom from Chevy during his tank breakdown. Look at how gorgeous they are. In terms of clam, the Direct clam is happy as indicated by the growth ring. You see the white ring on the shell? That means the clam is actively growing, and that's a good sign. The Maxima clam, on the other hand, I actually gave away to a local reefing buddy because my sandbed simply does not have enough par to sustain it. My sandbed was about like 130 par, and I don't have any room on the rockwork or shelf rock that I think will fit a nice clam like that. So I figured I'd just give it away to a better home. I never thought I'd say this, but the SPS are doing fantastic in this tank, much better than the softies and even LPS. But now that I know my phosphate is actually so low, it kind of makes sense. Here we're looking at the electric Miyagi torch. The color is actually like that in person. It's my favorite piece of SPS in the tank, followed by another kind of Miyagi torch right here, also a good grower. Been with me for almost a year. They came in the tank, browned out, color back up. This is another one I'm really proud of. This Forest Fire digitata died back to like 4 or 5 polyps, but it has since recolonized the entire stick. So this is where the tank is sitting right now. I am waiting to confirm that the phosphate was indeed low. I am slowly dosing up the phosphate and keeping an eye out on the corals while waiting for the ICP test results. At the same time, I am dosing a little bit of Dr. Tim's Eco Balance every day to keep the bad bacteria at bay. Wait, hold on, the Go Torch is out of focus. That's better. So at the moment, I definitely have a few favorite corals picked out in my tank, and in the future, I can probably do a deeper dive on those specifically. This video is just like a quick, fast snapshots because I'm just out of time this week, but next video will be much longer. If you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, there are 2 local swaps happening. The first one I believe is next week. It's going to be at McLean, and then the following week there's another one at That Fish Place. I think that one is hosted by the Reef Conservation Group. Those swaps are always great, always nice turnout and really affordable corals. So if you're local to the area, be sure to check that out. It has been a hot minute since we've done a local swap, and I'm really excited because that's where I usually find my corals, besides from other members of the Reef Club. Tank-wise, I think we're finally on the right track, and I am so glad. I've been scratching my head. I'll keep an eye on things and do all the change as needed, and I'll keep you in the loop. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I really appreciate it. See you next Sunday. Bye. All right, another round of ICP testing going out, and these are not cheap.